All right, rock and roll. Welcome to the Scorched Earth podcast for March 18th, 2025, Taco Tuesday, baby. I hope you survived St. Patrick's Day. I hope it was fun. I hope that green beer didn't get to you. You know, the cure for green beer is always green whiskey, greener whiskey. You know, that's what I always do. Just guzzle, guzzle, guzzle. Just give me that stuff. All right. So yesterday, St. Patrick's Day, was a day of work, was a day of learning, and it was, for me, another day of incompetence. You can see I got the headphones on. We've made some new and exciting changes to the podcast. Super producer Stacy came up, spent a lot of time working on it. We have some really exciting things that we're gonna introduce. And hopefully today, this is the third podcast I've done today, and the other two were abject failures. But I continue because, hey, it's midnight in LA. What else am I going to do, right? Not like there's any debauchery out there I can indulge in. You know, when I look at this, I think I look like Mickey Mouse. And I think of the joke, what did Mickey say when Minnie asked if he was listening to her? And he says, "Oh, don't worry, babe. I'm all ears." Yeah, it's probably why I'm single. Okay? Yeah, all right. Don't hate. So Stacy came up and we collaborated. Now, when guys say they're going to collaborate with a lady on something, that usually means she does about 98% of the work, and we take 98% of the credit. And she's working through these technical issues, and look, I'm just a pretty face. You know, there's not really a lot of substance behind the good looks, right? So she's working through all these technical issues, and literally, I'm flummoxed just trying to figure out how to turn on the computer, right? So we're going through it, and it's taken a couple hours, and she's being incredibly patient. Then finally, the tension's starting to get going. And she says, "Why don't you just go over there and start working on your podcast for the night?" You know, I said, "Okay, cool. Right, there you go." Okay. I know I'm probably bothering her more than anything. I go over there and I start researching for tonight's show. Today's, whatever. And I fall asleep. Yeah, I fall asleep. Oh my gosh. They always say on podcasts, don't put your hands to your face. Except when you're incredibly embarrassed. And so I started snoring. She woke me up. And we figured out some things. She figured out some things. I literally have butchered them twice so far. I'm trying to get there. Be patient with me. You know I'm a talent. You know I'm going to be the biggest podcaster in the world here in 200 or 300 years. But, you know, here we go. And I really appreciate everything Stacy did for me. We're a great team. It's kind of like Master Blaster. I don't know if you ever watched that Mad Max where there's the big oafish guy and then there's the little guy who's the brains. He's the brawn, she's the brains. Yeah, she's definitely the brains. She's definitely got that figured out, you know? It's just, what are we doing? So, like, the big story for today is Israel talking about and launching strikes on Gaza. Let's get to that, see what we got. You know what? Be patient.
Fire between Israel and Hamas appears to be over as Israel launches new strikes across Gaza. National Affairs editor Hugh Riminton joins me now. Hugh, how serious is this resumption of hostilities?
Well, Angela, this is without question the most serious resumption of fire into Gaza since the ceasefire took place on January the 19th. There has been a series of minor events since then, but just in the last couple of hours, there have been a series of targeted strikes by Israel into parts of Gaza. They say that they were attacked attacking militants who were planting explosives and intending other harm to Israeli forces. People within Gaza are saying that there are civilians who have died, including a child. At least 10 people in these early stages are reported to have been killed. Israel has put out a statement through the office of the Prime Minister, Benjamin Netanyahu, saying that from now on, Israel will act against Hamas with increasing military strength. And this is because the ceasefire talks have essentially been gnarled up over the last little period. Hamas has been wanting there to be a movement towards a final peace arrangement between Israel and Hamas to control Gaza. Israel says that it wants all of those hostages out. First of all, the Israeli defense minister has been quoted as saying, if Hamas does not release all the hostages, the gates of hell will now open.
What has Hamas had to say?
So Hamas is reacting to this. They say they put out a statement of their own. It's certainly been attributed to Hamas and is getting wide distribution. They say that Netanyahu and his extremist government are making a decision to overturn the ceasefire agreement. And here's the next bit: exposing prisoners in Gaza to an unknown fate.
All right. So we have that going on. You know, this has become a really sticky wicket in the Middle East. You know, Israel is carrying out extensive strikes on Gaza. There was a 2-month ceasefire. And Israel, like Russia with Ukraine, basically arbitrarily violated the ceasefire. They've also not allowed humanitarian food, fuel, aid, medicine into Gaza. They're basically letting these people wither and die. And they have these hostages. They have the bodies of hostages. Why would they trust Israel that once they get these hostages, this is the only thing keeping them even semi-alive, once they give it to them, that Israel doesn't do a full-out assault with the approval of Donald Trump? We found out today the White House was briefed on it. This comes a day after the United States launched attacks on the Houthis in Yemen and the Straits of Hormuz. Benjamin Netanyahu says, you know, like you just saw there on the screen, that they're going to use increasing military strength. They have, have you ever seen the wildlife specials where the killer whale, mama killer whale, is teaching the young how to kill? And she, you know, the kids are hanging out there off the shore. And the mom beaches herself, grabs the seal, and heads on out. And they literally keep beating the seal. They don't eat it. They just keep beating it to a pulp as she teaches the youngsters how to kill, how to do their craft of survival. Okay? This is what Israel has been doing to the people of Gaza, the Palestinians, for the last 18 months. They literally have them in a cage. They are raining down on them, and they aren't stopping. You know, Hamas is saying Israel is violating the 2-month truce. Of course they are. They've been empowered by Trump. You know, I wonder, how do all those Palestinians, how do all those Muslims in Dearborn, Michigan now feel about voting for Trump? Oh, yeah. I see these reports every so often. Oh, I have concerns about him, but, you know, I'm still glad I voted for him. You know what? You guys are idiots. You're idiots on idiots. You voted for your own decimation. I can't really throw down too much harder because obviously the people of America did it when they elected that idiot Trump, right? Israel Defense Minister Israel Katz declared, tonight we return to fighting in Gaza. Yeah, no kidding. It's on now. And Israeli strikes have killed According to Hamas, their defense and health ministry, over 200 people and wounded hundreds more. They're still not letting in the humanitarian aid. They're letting these people die. It's basically, what's the old saying, shooting fish in a barrel? That's basically what's going on there. There is no recourse. There is no redemption. There is no salvation for the Palestinian people. They're trying to batter them into the place where eventually they go, yeah, give us the middle of the Egyptian desert. Yeah, that's fine. Trump can build his condos. That's fine. Don't worry about it. White House press secretary Carolyn Leavitt told Fox News yesterday, Hamas, the Houthis, all those that seek to terrorize not just Israel but the United States will have a deep price to pay. All right. So where are we going with this? Where are we going with this? Now it's leaking out that they're worried, wink, wink, wait for it, that Iran is going to attack Israel. There we go. There we go. You know, doesn't that sound eerily similar to something else in recent history? Let's go back to 2001. Let's go in the little time machine. Yeah. Saddam Hussein has weapons of mass destruction. Yeah. Remember when they put Colin Powell up there on the cross in front of the UN and the world, and he basically became their prostitute? They were pimping him to sell their secret agenda for the war. They knew there was no weapons of mass destruction, but he didn't know that. He was just going off intelligence briefings. And honestly, his reputation was destroyed. He was a good man. He still is a good man, okay? But at the end of the day, he was ruined for everybody because they knew he was a liar. Whether he did it intentionally or not, we'll never really know. I want to believe in my heart he did. They used him and used him and used him. You know, at the end of the day, they just wanted to get there and get control of the oil, right? Because at the end, it's all about money. It's all about oil. It's all about power. It's about the defense industry, the defense complex. I mean, I'm sure it's just a coincidence that Dick Cheney, former head of Halliburton, who somehow got a no-bid contract for 5 years in Iraq, which ran somewhere about $5 billion a year, except we'll never really know what the number is because there was no transparency on what the defense budget was for him. We just had to go get those weapons of mass destruction that never existed. And then, of course, when the Democrats finally took over in 2008, the whole world was melting down economically, so we didn't have really a lot of time or wherewithal to go after them for lying to the American people. Yeah, okay. You know, how did Bush and Cheney get a pass for that? Yeah, well, we'll never know. But let's get back to the Israel thing. And I want to do a little deeper dive that I don't think we hear too often, is they're talking about Israel fighting for survival. Well, let's compare them to Ukraine, okay? Those people are literally fighting for their survival. I think they're similar, and I also think they're not similar. There's two different things going on here. Let's talk about the similarities. They're both democracies, okay, which is rare in those parts of the world. Russia's, a dictatorship. Most of the Arab countries are run by dictators. Okay. They both were attacked. Russia violated their peace agreement, went in there and launched a vicious attack on the country in 2022. Israel was attacked in October, 18 months ago. And, by literally hundreds of Muslim and Hamas fighters. They were using kites, they were using hang gliders, they were using motorcycles. They launched a pretty effective assault on the outer perimeter of the Israeli country. Now, were they invaded by the aggressors? Well, Ukraine definitely was. 20% of Ukraine is still in Russian hands. And there's a lot of debates if they've gained more in the last couple of weeks before this quote-unquote peace agreement comes. Israel wasn't invaded. They were attacked, but they weren't invaded. Now, Are they defending themselves today? Ukraine definitely is. Like I said, 20 to 25% of their land is occupied by Russia. Israel, there's nobody from Hamas, there's no Palestinian, there's no Muslim who's occupying Israeli land. Maybe land they want. I'm sure they got their eye on Syria. Uh-oh, there we go, right? Receiving U.S. military and humanitarian aid, yeah, both are, except now Ukraine has been put a pause because Zelensky actually spoke up in the White House on that fateful Friday. So they also got their military intelligence debriefings from the United States stopped too. And then, of course, what a coincidence, Russia upped the attacks. Go figure. Now, having to pay back all the aid they've been given. We've been told Ukraine's got to pay it back. They got to give up mineral rights, etc. I've never heard word one about Israel having to pay back anything that they've been given by the United States for the last 80 years. Did I miss something? I must have missed that memo. You know? I don't know. Hey, maybe we can get part of the Red Sea. How about involved in their own peace negotiations? Well, Israel is basically running the bus. They decide when they want to negotiate, how they want to negotiate, and then Hamas either agrees or they just attack them again. Ukraine, unfortunately, even though 25% of their country is occupied by the invader, they aren't involved in the peace negotiations going on in Saudi Arabia between Russia and the United States. All right, going great. Going great. Trump 2.0, just flying along here. Also, the White House saying that they have to give up land for the war to end. Well, Israel isn't giving up any land. It's just how much more land are they going to get, and Ukraine is going to have to give up part of their country for the U.S. to say they can be at peace. Yeah, right. There we go. Now the White House is inferring, like we talked about, Iran might attack. This is just another reason for them to up the war machine in the Middle East. They are coming after the Gaza Strip. They are coming after the Palestinian people. And, damn it, how stupid are the Palestinians and the Muslims in America, Dearborn, Michigan, I'm looking at you, who voted for this orange glob at the top of the thing. I can't beat you down too much because the rest of the country voted for the orange glob, and all he's doing is destroying our economy. For you people, he's destroying your families, your homeland, everything. Here, he's destroying our homeland. Well, we got something in common, right? Christ's sakes, how do we get to this place? All right. We got some more news, odd things in the news. The FBI is really taking it to the new level. They're moving to criminalize Habitat for Humanity. I'm not joking. And other groups who are receiving EPA grants from the Biden administration. I think I've talked about it a couple times. I do donate time to Habitat for Humanity. It is a wonderful organization. The face of it was Jimmy Carter. What I typically do is 3 or 4 Saturdays a year, I go to an elderly couple's house that is very low income. I go and fix some stuff. And it's a beautiful thing. I'm not really changing the world, but if I can make somebody's life a little better, maybe alleviate a little stress, it's kind of a cool thing. And now the FBI is coming after them. Let's continue with the story. In a new court filing, Citibank revealed that the FBI ordered them to freeze Habitat and these other groups' bank accounts because they are allegedly involved in possible criminal violations, including conspiracy to defraud the United States. Oh yeah, this is really rich. This is really effing rich. Votes matter. Votes matter. We're going to go deep here. The Appalachian Community Capital Corporation, the Coalition for Green Capital, the Colorado Clean Energy Fund, and the DC Green Bank are just some of the nonprofit groups being targeted along with Habitat. And basically what has happened is these groups are getting EPA grants. The Trump administration is saying climate change isn't real. They are doing things to help with climate change. So what the Trump administration is saying is you are doing illegal and defrauding the government because what you're doing is not legitimate because climate change doesn't exist. Like, what idiot thinks that's real? Phoenix last summer, 90 straight days over 110. Yeah, nothing to see here. That climate change, that stuff's just a hoax, right? Don't worry, California burning up because of the extreme drought over the last 15 years. Nope, nothing to look at here. Don't worry about it. I'm sure in 20 or 30 years we're going to have an abundance of rain. By claiming fraud to take the money to fight climate change, this is red meat for the MAGA party. This is going to scare off nonprofit organizations in their fight to save our planet. Look, you and I are probably going to make it. Why do you think, and I don't understand why nobody has really caught on to this. I don't know. Maybe I'm the only guy who's real smart. Why do you think they're after Greenland and Canada? Because that's where we're going to be living in 30 years. The rest of the United States, the southern U.S., is going to be too bloody hot. They're not going to be able to live. Hey, if you got the money, start buying land up in upper Montana because that's going to be the only livable place in the current United States until we, take over Canada, right? Just unbelievable that they are pushing this agenda that climate change isn't real. I mean, how can you look at what the world is? The world's burning. And the kids, you want to vote for Trump? Okay, good luck. 50 years from now, let's see where it gets you. That's how America is. Well, I don't believe in it until it comes to affect me. Hey, it's here. I'm going to tell you another thing. Allstate went to the insurance commissioner in California here this week and basically got approval for a 20% rate hike for homeowners insurance. It's coming. Everybody here is going to pay for climate change. You can act like you're not going to pay and it's just the way things are and the insurance companies are ripping us off. Supposedly, we don't know for sure, State Farm might be on the hook for up to $40 billion for the LA wildfires. Well, okay, you can make $4 billion in profit a year and they make a healthy profit. And I'm not for any corporation, don't get me wrong, but they do have to make money. I get that. Well, if you're gonna pay out $40 billion in claims, you're hoping you're gonna be going 10 years at the same profit exchange rate just to break even. That ain't happening. They're coming, and we're all gonna pay for it. We're paying for the policies of big oil and all that stuff. All right. Finally, we're going to go to one more odd thing in the news. Saturday, Trump, he signed the stopgap bill that got put through the Senate with all the Republicans, except for Rand Paul, and the 10 treacherous Democratic senators, traitors, all led by Chuck Schumer. I did hear today that Chuck Schumer was out in Los Angeles on Sunday on a book tour. Oh, man, I wish I would have known that. I'd have been out there heckling that guy real quick. I really got to get on that. I got to get the camera out there and start heckling these pricks because that's what they are. The bill includes, here's where it really got interesting. The bill includes $13 billion in domestic cuts. Okay. But it has a $6 billion increase in the Defense Department. You're telling me $1 trillion Defense Department, they don't have waste there? Where's this $1 trillion that prick Elon Musk said he was going to find for us? Where is that money? Doge puts that wall of receipts up there. Oh, we've saved $100 billion. And then when the New York Times catches them, oh, it's down to $12 billion. And then they up it to 18, to 20, to 25. And then, Politico catches them. And now they're back down to 13. And they're not really saving the money. They're just not paying USAID or people's Social Security or things like that. I mean, not Social Security, but they cut 7,000 people in the Social Security department. That's what I meant to say. I'm trying to be accurate. I'm trying to be honest. Trump has signed executive orders dismantling 7 federal agencies. And this is all they're coming up with? They're going to cut $7 billion. $7 billion out of a $6.5 trillion? That's not even 1%. Like, wow. Son of a gun. How you doing that? Oh, wait a minute. That's way less than 1%. Oh, my God. 60 billion would be 1%. Oh, John, your math is way off. So it's like, 1/1000th of 1%. No, 1/100th of 1%. Sorry, math's getting a little off here. Holy heck. No, 1/10 of 1%. Oh, boy. Hey, been a long day. It's my 4th podcast. Hopefully this one actually goes up. All right, if you could, we come to the end of this podcast today. I want to tell you, thank you for listening. I really appreciate it. Hit the like and subscribe button if you could. Leave some comments. I really appreciate your support, your comments. I love you all. Don't be sad because it's coming to an end, but be happy we're in this together and we will persevere. We will prevail. We will defeat the evil demons. All right. You guys have a good day, and I will see you tomorrow.